Recently, I watched a couple of videos from the midlife stockman, and as I was watching, I was thinking, or I was wondering if I could find this house. So I thought it would be a good idea to do a case study and just using open source intelligence. So just from things that I saw in the video, I wondered if I would be able to find this house. I'm talking to you after I recorded that video. Yes, I did find the house. This video is going to be for anyone that wants to get into cybersecurity, open source intelligence, cybersecurity, anyone wanting to be like a detective, a private investigator, or anyone that's just curious on how people take these little bits of information and turn it into something big and help you find out more information. Especially if you have someone in your life that's like an oversharer, they overshare things online. You can definitely send them this video if you want to give them a reason to not post things that they shouldn't be posting, like pictures from in front of your house or pictures from inside your house. Everything that you post has a lot of information, so it's very important that you don't do that. Just before I post this, I want to preface that I did look into the story behind this property, because I know, if you watch this video, you're probably going to do it yourself. The house is semi-abandoned, I guess. I believe the family still owns this house. I looked into it. An elderly person is the owner of the house. They've owned it for at least 30 years, I believe, since they were a young adult. If you look on the Google Maps, you can see that whoever lived in this house did very much care for this house. And you can kind of see it going downhill and deteriorating in the last few years, probably, around COVID. And it's just a common story of time defeating someone. And I think that's a very sad story. Either the owner or the family of this person tried to sell this house at some point and they were unable to. It's very common in Detroit that things like this happen, where someone will own a house for a while, something will happen, they'll either they'll try to move out, or maybe they pass away or something and the family tries to sell the house and they're just unable to sell it. Because in Detroit, if they had a big issue with people moving into the city. I believe even at some point one of the neighbors mentions a lot of people were leaving the city and people were telling her to leave the city, but she chose not to. Detroit recently has done a very good job at knocking down a lot of houses that are abandoned and turning them into empty lots so they can be sold and redeveloped. I don't know if that's going to happen in this property. It might, but moral of the story, or moral of why I'm saying this, is don't go off harassing or trying to harass whoever the previous owner of this house was. It's just something that's happening in Detroit right now. The city's rebuilding and trying to reinvigorate. More people are starting to move in because property prices are low right now. I believe they tried to sell this house for like a mere $10,000. Like, that's how low the property prices in this part of the country is right now. Just a PSA, if you're looking to buy, if you're looking to be a property owner or a landowner or something, look in Detroit, because the entire city's for sale. They literally can't give these properties away. Like I said, just a case study. If you're trying to be in cybersecurity, do cyber intelligence, or if you just want to be more aware of your privacy and how people like this, or I guess like myself, work. I've had people come to me and ask me to find locations or find people for them. I've had people come to me. My grandfather recently passed away. He had a couple of friends. We're unable to get in touch with his friends because we don't have their contact information. Can you find them? Or I've had people come to me. I've had this friend, they went through something. I haven't had contact with them. I have to go through and tell them, hey, if this person hasn't contacted you, maybe they just don't want to be found. Depending on what I find, I might not tell you what the situation is. I can tell you if they're okay or not, but other than that, I'm not gonna give you their location or anything like that. So I try to be ethical when doing stuff like this, which is the main reason I just wanted to make the story of this property clear. And I just want you, if you end up using this information or what I'm gonna teach you right now for whatever deeds you want to use them for, just try to be ethical when you do it. Let's jump into the video. Okay, so I'm going to run through this and try to find this house. I saw a couple of things which stuck out to me. He ended up talking to a couple guys during the course of this video, and they had their business on the side. And I saw in his description he has where he's based out of. So he's based out of Auburn Hills, Michigan. So let's kind of go and look at this general area. So he's from Auburn Hills. So let's see where this business is from. Painting and More is kind of a generic name, but they do have this address here, or this phone number here. Let me write it down. 131-304-5555. Okay, I might just go ahead and look that up and see what we got, what we get. Let's see. So it looks like that says the same thing, the website. So let's go ahead and check the website really quick. J. Harris Homes. Yeah, that looks about the same. Let's just see really quick. Carpentry, flooring. Okay, so let's type in their address and see what comes up. Let's see where their building's at, just to kind of like triangulate where this might be. So the building's here. Let me see, where's Auburn? So in comparison, so Auburn's up here. Okay, this building, here's Auburn. So we're starting to get like a general kind of search area. There's also another thing that happened in this video. Like a bus pulled up towards the end, and it had a name on it. So Riverside Academy. Let's find Riverside Academy. Riverside Academy. What is this? Got multiple locations. Oh, elementary school, early childhood center in Riverside Academy West. Is there any other Riverside Academies? Any other buildings, locations? Riverside Middle School. Riverside Academy. And so there's a Riverside Academy out here too. Interesting. Okay, so I don't think school buses go that far. Let me switch to Google Earth, because it's a lot better. So I don't think school buses go that far away from. Let me see again. Riverside Academy, so it's closer to downtown Detroit. Okay, so I don't think school buses go that far away from where they where the school is. Okay, so we got Riverside Academy here, and here is the location of that business. So I don't think this business is like a big business, so they probably don't operate that far outside of. So they're probably in this area somewhere. And if it's Riverside Academy, they probably don't go more than like, I'm going to say probably like 10 miles away. So let's just see. Let's do measure distance. Just where that business is. So we're going to measure this here. So that's 6 miles. 6 miles away. Let's keep it around 6 miles. So 6 miles in that general area, but push it out to like 10 miles. Push it out to like 10 miles. So it's probably in this general area. That would be my guess. This is a little better resolution. It could be farther out. But also another thing that I noticed is he ended up having like a drone shot at the end that kind of showed everything. Okay, here we go. So this is the first drone shot. So this is it taken before, and then he has like an after. He has like an after shot. So before and after. Yeah, okay. So in the before shot, kind of look at the shadows. This is probably like, just from the angle, I want to say it's probably like 10, 11 in the morning when he took this shot. And this is at, let me see, the second shot. It's probably sometime in the afternoon. Okay, so to me, it looks like the sun is setting. So this is after the afternoon. So the sun's setting in the east, or in the west, my bad. So sun setting in the west. Res in the east. So just from the way this is facing, that side is the west side, this is the east side, so the front of the house is facing east. That would mean the house is on the left side of the street, and you have a street that's running north-south. And it looks like it's probably like straight north-south. Yeah, it looks like the street's probably straight north and south, like probably due north, due south. So I'm looking for a house that's on the west side of the street. So we got this search area. Could be over here, maybe. There was also something, he did like a drone shot at the end. And let's kind of just run through this little shot that he did. This is before, after, and then he does like a drone shot. Yeah. Okay, so I was looking at this drone shot and I started noticing this building in the background. It's very colorful. Colorful buildings like this tend to like be schools. It's definitely not a high school. It might be like an elementary school, a middle school. Could also be like a community center. And then he does this like wide pan, right? So you can clearly see you have like a building, maybe two buildings off alone. And then you just have this wide open field. Looks like a gas station at the corner. So this is probably like a main street. It looks like a main street to me. Got a field. Yeah, like a kind of curved road running through it. So this might be just like a giant park or something. And then field, and then another open field over here. And I know that this is the East Coast, so it could be a little deceptive, but it looks like this might be on the outskirts because there's a lot of trees, but also, I mean, there's a lot of trees over here. So I can't really tell for sure, but it looks like, at least in the general location, you have an open, expansive kind of area. So this should be kind of easy to spot from the sky. It's pretty distinct. And then you have a neighborhood right here. And these roads look straight because this one's clearly curved. So like a straight road, neighborhood, building, field with like a road running through. And so okay, let's look for this. Just looking at this map, like it looked like it could be up here, but I think there's just too many houses over here. It could be here, but there's too many houses over here, and I feel like you would be able to kind of see. And let's just kind of just drop into one of these streets. No, I feel like you would. Yeah, no, there's too many houses. There's a lot of areas out here it could be, but it's too far away from this school and where this business is. It could be closer up towards Auburn Hills area, but again, there's just too many houses, and then it's really far away from the school, so I don't think it's up here. It could be down here. This looks like it could be a good candidate for that. During the video, I did not hear a lot of planes, so I didn't really hear a lot of planes, but I think this area is worth checking. See if we see any like big wide open fields, which there's a bunch over here, but I don't see the like specific configuration that we're looking for. Where we're gonna have a house, we're gonna have neighborhood on the left side, open field, or a house on the right side, open field on the left side behind the house, and then fields after that. I'm not really seeing great candidates for that. Maybe down here. Nope. And I feel like it's something that would stick out because it's like 3 open fields and they're split. That's something that would stick out. And I'm not really seeing that over here, and I feel like we're getting way too far away from where that school should be. I remember that I think there was one other Riverside Academy down here somewhere. Which I'm not really seeing any great candidates for neighborhoods. Maybe over here, but there's a couple neighborhoods that fit, but there aren't any fields that fit. And if there is a field that fits, there's not a neighborhood that fits. So it's probably not down here. So I'm going to just go back within 5 miles of this school area. I don't think it's going to be towards this way because obviously you have the city and the density increases. It's not over here. It's kind of a main street. But again, you don't have those open fields. Well, you do you kind of have this? Okay. Yeah. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Yep. Okay. Yes. Learning Academy. Okay. Got the trap. Yeah. Okay. I think we just crushed this pretty quickly. I think that might have been under like 15 minutes, if that. So yeah, that's definitely the building. Let's go back and okay, and there's the house. So we found it. That was, I think, if we cut out the time of me like going through my process of how I'm gonna find this house and actually finding it, that was probably under like 10 minutes. It's been about 24 hours since I found this location. So let's go ahead and break down what I did and what happened. I don't really know much about the midlife stockman. I just know he's based out of Michigan. I don't really know much about Michigan either. Just going based off of the business address he has in his description, I was guessing he was around Auburn Hills. The 2 pieces of information that I found was the business from the two guys that showed up. They had their phone number on the side of the truck. And then we traced it back to a business on this street over here by Palmer Park and by this university. So that gave me another anchor. So we ended up moving down towards Detroit. Then the bus obviously said Riverside Academy on the side. So there's Riverside Academy over here. And then there was another Riverside Academy, I believe, down here in this area. We use some context. What we know about school buses is people that live within a mile of the school usually don't ride the bus. People that ride the bus are usually, between 2 to like 5-10 miles out, depending on where you live. But I mean, this is a city, so there's going to be school districts pretty close. So they couldn't be that far away from this. So we kind of just used this Riverside Academy and the location of this business, because I don't think that this small business is going to be traveling out very far, like the next town or city over, just to work. It's you're losing money on gas. So we kind of use these as an anchor. I originally thought that it was going to be on the outskirts because of the way the property looked. It looked like it was on the outskirts, and then there was just like a field of trees. So that told me that it was going to be somewhere on the outskirts. Now, what I didn't really realize, because I'm not super familiar with this part of the country and all the old trees that they have, is that they have, let's just zoom in here. They have really tall trees, and there's a lot of canopy cover that it's just really everywhere you look, it just looks like treetops. Didn't know that at the time. I believe I did drop in on a street view somewhere, and I didn't notice it then, but that probably should have given it away that it was going to be a little bit closer. I believe what we ended up doing was going around in a circle. We kind of just checked this area. We checked down. We got a little far out. I used that anchor, that information to anchor me back, so it brought me back. Coming down, sweeping around. I didn't think it was by the airport. If you ever have lived by an airport or worked by an airport, you really do hear those airplanes coming in for a landing. They're pretty loud. They're not as loud as they used to be back in like the early 2000s, but they're still pretty loud, and you would have noticed that during the video at some point. I didn't think he was too close to the airport, and it was getting a little too far away from the academy, but I thought it was still a good idea to check. After that, I didn't find anything down there. We ended up coming back and just looking around this area. Kind of eliminated it being towards the city because there were too many trees, but also, I mean, if we just drop in, they also have that kind of canopy cover out here. So it very well could have been in the city. I think I just may have gotten a little bit lucky. We ended up finding it over by this rogue park over here. I initially ended up spotting this road and this little, I guess it's a statue, and that helped me spot the rest of it. This is kind of a unique feature here, which made this place a lot easier to find. If it would have been somewhere out in the suburbs like this, it would have been probably a lot harder to find. When you're looking at this stuff from like a macro kind of overview, if it was in like a suburb area, there's just no detail for you to pick out, and it's really hard to find anything. So this kind of like covers. But as you zoom in, you're gonna see like no matter where you're at, there's always some type of defining feature in that area, whether it's a school, a hospital, a park, buildings, warehouses. There's always some type of defining features, a weird cross street. There's always something you can pick out to help you differentiate areas, even if they do look the same from above. But I want you to note that the overwhelming majority of the things that helped me find this place had almost nothing to do with the place itself. It had everything to do with the people around that place. So the bus driver, the business, and just a little piece of information, which was this feature. The field, the two fields, this building is really all I needed. Then I was easily able to jump over and find the property here. 9 times out of 10, anytime I find a person or a place, it almost has nothing to do with that place and it has everything to do with everything around that place. So if I'm looking for a person, I look for that person, but I usually find that person through the people around them. So if you like have privacy in mind, more than likely it's going to be something your friend or your loved one posted or something they did that ends up being traced back to you. And it's kind of weird how that works. And a lot of people don't really think about that. The people around you are kind of your biggest security risk in a way. And it's kind of weird. If you do want to do cybersecurity, let's say you're like a pen tester or something and you're just trying to gather, you're hired to pen test, you're trying to gather information. Maybe you're trying to just find out some things about someone so you can do like a rainbow table attack or brute force attack or something. I don't know. Going through the people around them just to figure out more information about that person is something that you can do. I know there are people out there that look for missing people. There's a lot of open source, open to the public projects out there where people can help find missing people, either for a reward or out of the goodness of their heart. It might help you to look for or start looking closer at the people that were around them or might have been around them to help you find those people. If you're a detective and you're looking for someone, that's also something you can do. And if you're just a person at home just watching this video out of curiosity, or maybe you're just concerned about your own privacy, just be aware when you post things from around your house. It might not even be, something major that ends up giving away your location or violating your privacy. And it might be a good idea, to set your boundaries with your friends or the people around you. Hey, I don't want you posting pictures from the inside of my house or the front of my house just because I don't know what's going to be in the background of that picture, which someone that might want to do harm to me or harass me is going to use. Personally, I just wanted to test myself, but I thought I'd turn it into, a little bit of a learning experience just for maybe more of a broader audience. And if you're still with me at this point, please drop just at least a like, especially if you're in the Western world. I stopped using this channel because the algorithm has me stuck in India for some reason, and nothing against India, but they mostly can't understand what I'm saying. So it's kind of feeding my algorithm or my videos into the void, and it's not helping me grow the channel. So I just kind of abandoned this channel. But if I get back towards, who my target audience would be, which is going to be mostly Americans or Canadians, people that can actually understand what I'm saying, that would be great. I've had some experience. I've always wanted to do more of a cybersecurity or privacy focused channel. It's just at the time it really wasn't allowed on YouTube. And now, especially without the ad apocalypse that happened, now I think things are a little more lax and we can actually talk about some topics that are a little more taboo back in the day. We'll see what happens. Anyway, that's it for me. I'm going to go. Like I said, drop a like if you can, and thank you very much.